I know we want to be for everybody. We want everybody to love us. Finding a niche is the way to go and absolutely the way to grow. That's what we're talking about today. Hey, everybody, it's your girl Leah T. Porter, and I am back with another episode, The Creative Entrepreneur, Serial Entrepreneur, and all of those good things like that. And today we're talking about why you can't be for everybody and why you shouldn't want to be for everybody. Now listen, this word niche, right, is something that I learned a couple of years ago from watching YouTube channels and surfing the web. And there was a time and a place where every coach and every person was saying to niche down, niche down, niche down, niche down. You have to find one thing to focus on. And I was a little detached from that, right? And it's probably because my personality is just a person that loves to do a lot of things. Right now, creatively, I do a lot of different things. From a business perspective, I do a lot of different things. So the idea of niching down did not make sense to me. But once I really actually figured out what niching down was, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty brilliant. This is good. This is good stuff. One of the worst mistakes that we can make as creatives is wanting to be and reach everybody. And I think we're that way because we want to, right? Reach a broader audience. And I've been in that place and space before, right? Where I'm wanting to reach a broader audience and really want everybody to connect to my story and to what I'm doing and to my projects. But what happens is it can often lead to confusion for the audience, but also sometimes lead to confusion for yourself. And so when you try to start being for everyone, then it starts to get really confusing on what type of work that you do. Because what you start to do is you start to cater your work in either a generalized way that starts to dilute who you are, what your work stands for, and what it actually really represents. Or you start to get far removed and start to invite these other ideas or these other creative entities or things that are not just connected at all. And then you start to go down a rabbit hole that is hard to come out of. And so making sure that you're very clear on who you're speaking to is important. And so if there's any one quote from this video that I want you to take is that clarity builds trust. When people know exactly who you are, what you stand for, and it's super clear, they trust you. They trust that you're going to show up as yourself. They trust the information that you're giving, and they trust that you know what you're talking about. So what is my niche, right? It has taken me a little while to really figure out what my niche is because there's so many different things that I do, right? And my life has evolved over the years. I am a dancer, I'm a choreographer, I'm a director and a producer, I'm an artistic director, I'm a leader, I am a writer, an author, all of these different things. And for a long time, for a very long time, I just felt all over the place. I felt like it was too much. And I started to think like, if I feel like scattered and all over the place, then people that are looking from the outside looking in probably feel the same way. And so I had to get really clear on where am I in my life at this moment, at this time? What truly represents me? And for me, that was creativity and business. I am a creative entrepreneur through and through. My work sits at the intersection of culture, creativity, and business. And that is my niche. And that is what I have been focusing on. And once I realized that, once I got a hold of that, it's almost like light bulbs started clicking and everything started making sense. And now I can actually tailor everything that I do to my niche and making sure that I'm moving in that purpose. And so that has helped me to be super clear moving forward and to make sure that everything that I do, if it doesn't fall under culture, creativity, or business, in the combination of all of that, then it's not for me. And being super clear on that has made it easier to plan, has made it easier to communicate with my team. We're all on the same page, and it allows me to move freely in my creativity, but also in my business. And so that's what my niche is: creativity, business, how those two don't have to live in two separate houses, in two separate worlds, on two separate planets, but actually can merge together to make something very beautiful. So my niche is helping people to see that creativity and business can coexist in an amazing way. So why does a niche create freedom? I used to think that if I put myself in a box, which I am a person, I do not put myself in a box. I don't allow other people to put me in a box. But when we feel like we're being put in a box, we feel like we are limiting ourselves. And especially as artists and as creatives, you never want to feel limited. Oftentimes that's where the creativity comes from. Creativity comes from having the freedom to experience, to think, to be, right? And so sometimes thinking about creating or putting yourself in a niche box is limiting yourself. But there can be a lot of creative freedom in niching. It doesn't have to be limited. I think a perfect example is the work that I do. Once I got super clear on what my niche was, which was culture, creativity, and business, then I was able to see, well, all of the things that I am doing already is connected to that. Every business that I operate and own, every project that I'm working on, everything that I'm doing, whether it's something that's already been in play or something that is new, they're all orbiting in the same galaxy. They're all orbiting around each other. And so that gives me the freedom to really create even more and to do more. I don't feel like I'm limited. I feel like I'm able to create freely because I'm very clear on what I am creating. And it also allows me to track opportunities that are aligned with my niche. And that in itself is freedom, right? The freedom to choose things in abundance, but choose things that are very specific. And then it actually helps to build community that understands you and what you do. Because as creatives, a lot of our work is an extension of us, an extension of who we are. And so it gives a community, our community, right, an opportunity to really trust us and to trust the work that we're doing. And so when people feel connected to you and know what you really do, then doors start to open freely, right? When you make that connection and you get very intentional, favorite word, the doors will start to open. Things will start to click. Everything will start to come together. So if you don't know what your niche is, spend the time to figure it out. Listen, I had to sit down and really be still. I had to journal. I had to really write down all of the things that I'm doing, all of the things that I'm connected to and that I love about the work that I do, to really get to the place where creative entrepreneurship was my niche. And so I invite you to do the same thing. Figure out what that is. After you figure out what your niche is, make sure that every single thing that you do is an extension of that. The work that you do, the people that you bring in, projects that you are going to start, the partnerships that you do. Make sure that if they do not fall underneath your niche, that they are not going to get the time of day from you. And then third, this is a bonus. Again, as creatives, I feel like our work is an extension of us. And the best thing that we can do is be authentic. Be our authentic self. Show up as who we are in our businesses and in our personal life. And that way you're not having to turn off and turn on a persona, and that you can really move freely in your purpose, move freely in your work that you do, and move freely in your niche, building a community that trusts you and that is going to stick with you and that's going to ride beside you. Thank you all for joining us for this episode. I hope that you find the time to figure out your niche. And if you know what your niche is, comment below. Tell me what industry you work in. Tell me what your niche is, and tell me some of the work that you're working on right now, some of the things that you're working on right now and that you're doing. Bye.